What's up, Cowboys Nation? This is absolutely huge news, and if you're a fan of America's team, you should be ecstatic about what just went down. The Dallas Cowboys have officially acquired Xavien Howard, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, from the Miami Dolphins, and this move is going to have a massive impact on the entire NFC, potentially shaking up the playoff race and putting every team in the conference on notice. If you're a Cowboys fan, you're probably jumping out of your seat right now because this trade puts Dallas in Super Bowl contention. We're talking about adding one of the most dominant defensive backs in the game to an already stacked Cowboys defense, and it could make all the difference when the postseason rolls around. This is the kind of move that signals to the rest of the NFL the Cowboys are all in. Let's break down exactly what went down here. Xavien Howard, the all-pro cornerback who has been one of the most feared players in the league since entering the NFL, is leaving Miami and joining the Cowboys secondary. Now, on the surface, it's hard to ignore that this is a bold and high-risk move by Dallas. But make no mistake, this is a win-now trade. The Cowboys are on the verge of something big, and they're not going to let anything, whether it's salary cap or draft picks, get in the way of securing their Super Bowl aspirations. Reports are still coming in, but early word is that Dallas has sent over multiple high-value draft picks, likely a first-rounder and a second-rounder, to Miami in exchange for Howard. It's a steep price, but the Cowboys have Super Bowl dreams in 2024, and Xavien Howard is exactly the type of player who could help get them there. Howard has made multiple Pro Bowls, and with his ability to completely shut down an opposing team's best receiver, he's the perfect fit for a defense that's already one of the most disruptive units in the league. When you think about it, the Cowboys' defense was already elite. They've had one of the best pass rushes in the NFL, led by the unstoppable Micah Parsons, who has become an absolute nightmare for quarterbacks. But now the addition of Xavien Howard takes the secondary to a whole new level. This isn't just adding a solid cornerback, it's adding an all-pro talent who can change the game on every single snap. He's been one of the league's best playmakers in the secondary, and the Cowboys are getting him at the perfect time. While the Cowboys' defense has been stellar in recent years, they've lacked that true shutdown corner who can erase the opposing team's top playmaker from the game. Now, with Howard in the fold, quarterbacks are going to have to think twice before they throw in the direction of either Xavien Howard or Trevon Diggs. And let's not forget, Trevon Diggs is a turnover machine. The guy has had double-digit interceptions in multiple seasons, and pairing him with a player like Howard, who is just as opportunistic, is going to make life miserable for any quarterback in the NFC. Imagine being an NFC quarterback, especially someone like Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles or Matthew Stafford with the Los Angeles Rams, who now has to contend with a Cowboys defense that has Micah Parsons coming after you from the pass rush, Trevon Diggs and Xavien Howard locking down your wideouts on the outside, and DeMarcus Lawrence providing pressure from the edge. It's a nightmare scenario. The Cowboys' defense now has the ability to not only shut down the pass game, but to create turnovers, which is critical in the NFL. We all know how turnovers can change the tide of a game. Whether it's a pick six, an interception that sets up great field position, or even a forced fumble, this defense is going to be able to flip the momentum in any game they play, and that's what makes them so dangerous. You can't count on your offense to bail you out when you're up against a team like the Cowboys. This defense is so good, it can win games on its own. But we also have to recognize the leadership aspect of this trade. Xavien Howard has been a stalwart for the Miami Dolphins for years. He's seen it all, he's been the focal point of Miami's defense, and he's had to carry the load when the team was struggling. But now, with the Cowboys, he doesn't have to do it alone. He's joining a defense full of stars. Players like Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs don't just make plays. They create an atmosphere where opponents know they're going to be in for a tough, physical game. But Howard adds an element that the Cowboys have lacked for years: the ability to shut down top-tier receivers and make life difficult for quarterbacks, even when they're trying to throw to their best targets. That's going to allow Parsons to be even more aggressive, knowing that Howard and Diggs are going to blanket the receivers downfield. If you give Parsons an extra second, he's going to get to the quarterback, and if you give him more opportunities to rush the passer, he's going to break records. Now let's shift gears and talk about what this means for the Dallas Cowboys' Super Bowl hopes. The Cowboys have been close to a championship for the past few seasons, but something has always held them back, whether it's a bad call, a key injury, or just a lack of consistency in certain areas of the roster. But this trade is Dallas saying, "We're done with waiting, it's time to win." They're putting everything on the line this year, and adding a player like Xavien Howard makes them a serious Super Bowl contender. This defense, with Parsons, Diggs, Lawrence, and now Howard, is the best in the NFC, and possibly the entire league. When you combine that defense with an offense that has Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Cooks, the Cowboys are stacked on both sides of the ball. They're the kind of team that can take over games, and this trade just makes them even harder to beat. But let's also take a step back and think about the bigger picture for a second. What does this trade mean for the NFL as a whole? The Cowboys have long been one of the most talked about teams in the league, but this trade pushes them from a contender to an elite threat. Other NFC teams have to be looking at this move and thinking, "Wow, Dallas just leveled up." The San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Detroit Lions are all going to have their hands full trying to stop the Cowboys' defense, and this could be the move that finally puts them over the top. The Cowboys now have a secondary that can match up with anyone in the NFL, and that's going to be key when they face top-tier offenses in the postseason. Can you imagine the Dallas Cowboys defense going up against Patrick Mahomes, or even facing Jalen Hurts in the NFC Championship game? With Xavien Howard locking down one side of the field and Diggs playing the other, the Cowboys defense can do what other teams simply can't. They can take away options from opposing offenses. As for the Miami Dolphins, this trade signals a bit of a shift in their plans. Moving on from Howard was a tough decision, no doubt. He's been one of their best players for years, and it's hard to let go of a talent like that. But the Dolphins are in a rebuilding phase, and while they have an exciting young quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa and a promising team, they've decided to trade Howard to free up cap space and gain extra draft picks to continue strengthening their roster. Miami might be focused on upgrading their offensive line or adding more weapons around Tua, and this trade gives them the flexibility to make those moves. The Dolphins will still have a strong defense, but without Howard, they're going to need to find someone else who can step up and lead that unit. The trade isn't just about losing Howard, it's about what the Dolphins can do moving forward with the extra resources they now have. Ultimately, this trade is a huge win for the Cowboys. It puts them in a position to dominate the NFC, and it gives them a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl. Xavien Howard is a game changer, and the Cowboys now have one of the most dangerous defenses in the league. When you add his ability to lock down top receivers to an already elite unit, it's clear that the Cowboys are building something special. So if you're a Cowboys fan, get ready, because this season is going to be electric. But I want to hear from you. What do you think about this trade? Does adding Xavien Howard make the Cowboys the team to beat in the NFC? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest Cowboys news and NFL updates. This is going to be one wild season, and you won't want to miss a single moment. Go Cowboys!